Good afternoon everyone and welcome to Wild Safari Live. My name's Hayden Turner and I've got VM on camera with me today. You're joining us in the beautiful Arathusa and Sabi and Djuma game reserves in Sabi Sands here in South Africa. We've just come around a corner and a really great thing that I want to show you is something very special just beyond the vegetation. But as VM goes over there, I want to also say hi to Nikki and Tara in control, and all of you that are joining us. If you're first timers on Wild Safari Live, welcome. You're going to come on a great African adventure with us this afternoon. And if you're a regular participant, welcome back. Great to have you on board. I just want to let you know how incredibly quiet elephants are. Now, I'm just rolling down here. I don't want to startle them because I want them to know that I'm here. But it's okay, my girl. It's okay, my girl. So I'm talking out quite so they can hear me. There's a lot of elephant on the reserve at the moment, which is fantastic for us. You always have to keep your eyes open. You always have to make sure that you're at a very polite distance to make sure that you understand what their behaviours are, and that we absolutely listen to every single behaviour that they talk to us. So I'm just looking around as I speak. I do apologise for not looking at the camera just then. I thought I heard one coming up behind us. You don't want to get yourself into a position where you cause any... Very cool at the moment, very relaxed. A little youngster just crossing the road here, a few years old, probably 3-4 years old I'd say, and his mum's just behind him there. Feeding just off anything that they want. It's like I always say, a little buffet of vegetation for them, and they pick a bit of grass, a few leaves, a bit of bark, maybe dig up a root, whatever they feel like on their way. And that's exactly what that little guy's doing right there. But as we were sitting here before, we couldn't see them. And it's one of those funny things that I think I mentioned it a couple of days ago. The largest land mammal on the planet, and they can disappear in bush. They can only be like 10 metres away from you, 30 feet, and you can't see them. Unless you hear them feeding. We just did see a couple of the herds just walking through the bush, and they were silent, absolutely silent. The only time you can hear them is when they brush against a tree or something like that along their skin. So it's just great to be in the presence of elephants again. And this maternal care, this beautiful breeding herd that we're in now, they're very habituated, and that word that I've used many times, habituated or conditioned to us, the vehicles. We hear them in the sense that we hear their language, or we try to, as much as we possibly can, interpret what they're meaning to us. Over time you get to know that, you get to understand that if an animal's behaving normally and it's not showing any adverse behaviour to your presence, then everything's fine. But I'm just sticking where I am for the moment. I'd like to try and move down, but I'm respecting their distance. So unfortunately we've got a little bit of vegetation in the way. She's going to move forward in a second, but she's having really quite a nice time there, just kicking over some of the vegetation. Once she moves forward, I will sort of continue on down the hill and just see what's happening. I'm just going to creep forward a little bit. I'll start my engine. I need to give you a bit of an update also on Wendy, my vehicle. She had a bit of a fuel problem earlier this afternoon, this morning, sorry, and VM and I took it back and had a bit of a fiddle with the fuel system, and then we had another go and it stopped again, and we were in a bit of a position. We were in the presence of elephants with a car that wasn't starting. It eventually started, so it's all fine, and these things happen. It's the real world. There's a lot of, sometimes you can get dirt in your fuel system. These vehicles are worked quite regularly, 6 hours a day that is, and bless them, we look after them as best we can, but sometimes you get a little impurity in the fuel. So Will went to the closest town, scooted out there on a mission, and came back with a new fuel filter for us, and VM popped that on, and it seems to be fine. It's always really important that your vehicle obviously starts when you're around elephants, so it was really important that we got that sorted. So I feel quite comfortable. I feel confident that we're in the right space. They're in the right space. And they're a little bit away from us at the moment, but they're all around us, and we will start to see more of them come through in a second. So we had a lot of tweets and some fantastic zoomies watching our cameras for us, mentioning that there was elephants at Juma Dam. I guarantee you folks, these are the exact elephants you were watching, so thank you so much for that. Absolutely brilliant. And that's what the fantastic thing about Wild Safari Live is. It's about the interaction with you, you helping us hopefully taking you on a journey as well, and just being one big family really on this fantastic adventure. There's a lot of ellies here. It's quite thick, so as you can imagine, you don't want to startle an animal, you don't want to get into a position where you are putting anyone in jeopardy, particularly my cameraman and me, and the vehicle, and most importantly the animals. But it's a really beautiful thing just to sit with elephants and be calm, just be gentle, just watch them going about their daily routine. I can't move forward because this female is just over here that we watched just feeding before. She's just behind this vegetation. Her baby is just down here. I'm just going to show you a picture of her. She's fine. It's all right, my girl. It's okay. No problem. Her youngster is just across the road. It's all right, my girl. No problem. No worries, darling. It's okay. No problem. And that's exactly, she just didn't want to get too far away from him, so she's just moved across, and there's another couple just there. Well, one thing we know that the vehicle starts when it needs to. I'll tell you what we'll do, whilst we're watching these guys, we'll just sort of see how the herd congregates down here in a bit more open country so I can get a better look at them for you. Let's cross over to Pete and see what he's up to, and we'll see you just now. We might just push down a little bit. I think we might just be struggling to pick Pete up at the moment, so it's no big deal. We'll stick with these beautiful creatures here, and I'm sure Pete's going to be with us any second. There's another animal there, but there's some beautiful ones down here, so I just want to creep on down and make sure this one doesn't feel like we're cutting them off from the herd. It's okay, my girl. They're merrily feeding away here. I'm just going to drive down here a little bit, so VM can get a nice shot, and I just make sure that I'm not cutting off any of the family members. It's okay, my girl. It's okay, my girl. Really important that you keep your eye on every single bit of behaviour that's going on with elephants. If the matriarch gets a little uneasy and she puts the word out to the rest of them, then it's not the best sort of situation for them. They might feel a little bit uneasy, and they might feel like they need to move away from us, and that's not what we want. We just want to, I'm just going to park up on this and reposition. So sometimes when I do this, folks, you might see me doing 3-point turns or 20-point turns at some point, and I'm just going to get a nice shot there for VM, because there's a great, beautiful matriarch sitting there, and that was the whole idea of that movement. And really, I just wanted to get you into a position where VM could get a nice shot, and we could just talk about these guys a little bit more. So she's just standing in the shade there, completely relaxed. That sheer bulk. She's quite an unusual elephant, this one. The tusks are pointing down quite straight. It reminds me of forest elephant in Central Africa. They have very different shaped tusks, and they point downwards like that. And the theory behind that is that they move through much tighter vegetation, and it's and they've developed those tusks have been developed so it makes it easier for them to travel through. But they're much more like they don't have that big recurve on them that we normally get in the savannah elephant or the elephant that we get down here in Africa, in South Africa. But the point of that is just to look at sheer bulk. She could be pregnant. She could be pregnant. There's no doubt about that. She's got a very large sort of abdomen there. It looks a little bit more swollen to me, but you never know. Who knows? With a 22-month gestation period, you just don't know what part, if she is in calf, where they are in that gestation. I think it's the maternal care that we connect with as well. And remember, I've talked about this many times, but I find it just fascinating. Why am I drawn to be here rather than going out watching birds or something like that? It's just this connection we have with elephants. And many of us have it. I think all people have it generally, fascinated by the size and the sheer bulk of these the largest mammal on the planet, the largest land mammal on the planet, sorry. And just to give you a little indication as well, it's 30 degrees, about 87 Fahrenheit, so it's a bit warm here at the moment. The ellies are in this really cool little spot. I've parked us in the baking sun because it's the only position we can really get here. But they're all up there in some really nice shade. It's a little bit of a tricky spot for us. Oh, VM, the fuel filter is working like a treat, my friend. He says, touch wood. There's a lot of little babies here. Oh, that's what I really want to show you. I think we're pretty good to go down here. There's a female just up there. It's all right, girls. We are just here to observe and be part of your herd for a little bit, if that's okay. So just letting them get to know you're here. It's all right, my girl. And sometimes having the engine running is a benefit, because if you creep down a little hill silently, you can startle the animals quite easily. I'm trying to just move around this for you, VM. Just watching her. She's the one that, she's the matriarch. I was watching her before. She was leading. Can you see through there, mate? I know that branch is right in front of you. There's not much I can do a bit more. If I carry on, let's just sit here for a second and let her get used to us. She has got amazing tusks, and she was definitely the matriarch. She was walking out in front silently through the bush. I do apologise, folks, about the big branch across the screen there, but there's nothing I can do about that at the moment. I don't want to startle them. I don't want to split the herd. I want to make sure she's comfortable with us. So I know you'll understand that branch is it's just the way it is. But she is foraging through all different things. She's going for a bit of grass and a bit of foliage and going through that buffet. Look at the sheer strength of that, pushing this branch, this tree over. It's a really tricky spot we're in here, folks, for vision, but I know you understand. That's the most important thing. So the ethics and the morals behind this, which I sort of bang on about a lot, is really important for you to know. Our health and safety is really important, but theirs is as important or more important. There's a little calf just down here, VM. It's so tricky. I'm really wanting to move up just like another 2 meters. Can you see that? Just let me try. I think she's okay. I've got a feeling she's okay. It's all right, my girl. Just moving up a little bit closer here, my friend, so VM can get a picture. She's really nice, but at the same time I would never ever want to... It's okay, my girl. She seems to be perfectly calm. It's okay, my girl. VM, you might be able to get... She's just behind this vehicle here, this tree here. I'm waiting for... It's okay, my girl. Good girl. I'm just going to watch her, VM. I'm not going to watch the monitor. But over to your left, mate, there's a couple of youngsters just sort of having a little bit of a play around. There's the tail end. If you veer around here, there's a little guy down there. Can you see him or not? I know. Just on the edge of that vegetation. Just there. I need like 5 feet. Ma'am, can I just take 5 more feet, please? Will you let me do that? I think she will. There's a girl. There's a girl. Good girl, thank you so much. I'm sorry to just make you go back to her, mate. I do apologise. Just gently come back to her. Something interesting that she's doing. I do apologise, mate. I know you were going across to that shot. Watch what she's doing with that grass. She's taking a piece up and she's shaking it. And she's shaking it. And what she's doing is she's shaking the sand off it. She pulls it out and she shakes the sand off the grass. And all that does for her is gets that sand off. I mean, none of us like eating sand, that's for sure. And it preserves her teeth, and she's really enjoying that. So if you've just joined us, folks, we're sitting amongst a beautiful elephant herd here, what we call a breeding herd. This is the matriarch we're looking at right now. She's behind a little bit of foliage, and that's because I'm respecting her space. She's tolerating us being here, and I always want to make sure that we look after the animals first. I know you understand that. She's just pushing that out of the way. She's like... really trying to get the best grass under there, those tender shoots that none of the other animals have been able to get to. So isn't that interesting? She's just pushed that out, all that grass that was growing underneath that. None of the other species that would eat that grass can get in there because that big tree's been on top of it. But these wonderful, wonderful creatures have the ability to change the landscape, move things around, and get everything that they need out of that vegetation. She's just beautiful. You are a star. There's a girl. I'm just going to roll back and just give her a little few feet. So I've got David in Michigan. Welcome aboard. Thanks to you for joining us. Please don't think that I'm being rude, but I'm just turning around and watching her behaviour as well. David, you've got a wonderful question. Have I ever seen twins being born, and are they rare? Well, David, let me tell you this. I've never seen an elephant being born in the wild, that's for sure. It's not many people I've ever actually met has ever seen it happen. It's a very rare thing to see it. And the other thing is, twins have only been recorded once in the wild, I think, that I know of, that I've read about, and I'm sure it's happened more times because obviously we don't see every elephant on the planet. And I'm sure it happens. It would be a tricky one, but it probably could happen and survive, and I'm sure there's documentation if you looked online. But I can't say that I've seen it, David, but wow, can you imagine seeing an elephant birth, but boy, twins, wow. Can you imagine the size of the elephant too? 22-month gestation period, and you're looking at about anything up to 120 kilograms, which is about, goodness, I'm having a guess here, rough estimation, 250 pounds type of thing when they're born. So That's a pretty big baby. This is a beautiful elephant. I'm really, really liking this girl. She's just beautiful. And she's just like so chilled with us, and she knows that we're not here to, if we were to go any closer or threaten her or her space, this is like this invisible sort of area that we have, and we both understand each other. Those ears are flapping not in an aggressive manner at all. They're flapping just to cool herself, which all the elephants do. There's also a few flies and things, but that cooling system, which I'm sure most people know about, for those that don't, that's like the elephant's radiator or cooling system in your car. There's a very large vascular area on the back of those ears that is always in the shade, and they flap those ears and get that cool air over those veins to regulate or keep themselves cool, keep their body temperature down. So how lovely is she? And I know she's behind that vegetation, folks, so what I'm going to do is just see if she'll allow us to... Say, okay, my girl. I think she's going to be okay with this. I'm just going to go up and say farewell to her, and I'll move on to the others. It's all right, my girl. It's okay. So what I think I might do is I'm just going to keep a handle on these guys now and see where they are. There's elephants all through here surrounding us. Got to keep your wits about you a little bit and just make sure we watch the behaviour. But whilst we're doing that, and if they move out into a more open area, we might be able to see the youngsters. In the meantime, I'm sure Pieter Pretorius is up to something, and he's always up to something. Let's cross over and see what he's up to. I'll see you just now. So Pieter is up to something, but he's having a little bit of a difficult time with his picture at the moment, so you come back to me. What we're going to do is we're going to just move on down. There's some little babies down here I really want to see. They're very, very cool, and these are the babies that Pete had that magical encounter with last night on our sunrise drive. So I want to just go down and see if we can just get a handle on... I can't remember which individual it was, but I know there's little youngsters down here. I think she's okay. She's really got a bit of a handle on us now that we're not here, we're not being bold and boisterous. Thank you, my girl. You are an absolute corker. That's one beautiful elephant. So they're just over there. VM's pointing the same direction. And I think I'm going to have to go up onto this little embankment here and then have a look down. What do you think, mate?
Right.
We're just going to climb up to the top of this hill, folks. Just watch this aerial, please, mate. Sorry, folks. We just got to grab our aerial and make sure it doesn't get damaged. We go through many a riverbed or something like that, and there's an overhanging branch or something, and it can be easily damage our aerial, and our aerial is our lifeline to you. The technology that's coming out of this vehicle, bouncing to a repeater station, bouncing to a satellite, bouncing to the UK, bouncing to the United States, and it goes and goes and goes. And it's so exciting to be a part of this, folks. I can't tell you how excited I get every single time before we come out drive. I just have to pinch myself to realise what we are doing. We are broadcasting live from the African bush to you. Wow. When I was a young man, I had no idea that you could even have a mobile phone. But now, we're doing one of the most fantastic experiences in Africa, And that's broadcasting to all of you wonderful people and you interacting with us. That's the incredible thing. So questions are important. Hashtag Safari Live if you want to tweet, or email us at questions@wildearth.tv. And I'm just going to come up with these two perfect specimens. Fantastic creatures in this really beautiful open area here. Hello, my friends. There we go. Hi, guys. There we go. We can park with you guys for a little bit, if that's okay. So just picking off nice tender young shoots coming off and putting them into their mouth there, grinding them up with these massive, massive molars that they've got, and into as much as they can possibly get out of it. Now, we did have a look at elephant dung the other day, and that sort of constant foraging that they do, eating so much, really is because of that not very, it's quite a small digestive system compared to other animals, and it really they can eat sort of anywhere up to 150 kilograms, which is just about 320 or roughly about 320 pounds a day of foliage. Max in Toronto. Hi Max, thanks for joining us, mate. Really great to have you with us on board. And you're asking whether that hair on their ears, VM's going in for a nice close-up now. You can see that hair on their ears is much longer, just behind the sort of back of the skull there, into the ear canal, and what it's for and why is it so long. Max, I'm going to just have my thought on this, and I think, you know, if you talk to a physiologist, an elephant physiologist, they'd probably be able to go into much more detail. But I'm believing that that ear canal is just one of those things that has to be highly protected, and in dust storms or anything really going past it, it's probably just a filter, just like we've got fine hairs in our ears and many other animals. So I'm having a guess that it's going to be like a filter, Max, to stop dust and dirt going into that ear canal. Would be my opinion on it. Just while we're on that, and thank you, Max, for your question. Fantastic, mate, and hope Toronto as well. I love that place. What a wonderful city you live in. Right behind their ears, if this this animal flaps his ears again, you'll see that huge vascular area, behind the ear that uses that cooling system. Now, earlier today we got a question from a wonderful lady about why they cross their back legs. Well, not sure why, but VM, if you can just gently pan down to those back legs, my theory is it's comfortable. And you know, it takes a bit of weight off, maybe a bit of a stretch, takes a bit of weight off. It's a good time to see the bottom of that foot as well. So we've just moved on a little bit from the other part of the herd, and they're obviously so comfortable. If the matriarch was concerned at any point about anything, she would have called us, or sorry, called them, made it quite obvious that she wasn't happy with them spread out as they are. Just watching this boy now, he's quite okay. He's quite okay. It's all right, my boy. Come on, settle down. It's okay. It's okay, my boy. He's about 2 meters or 6 feet, 7 feet from our car at the moment. It's okay, my boy. Come on. It's okay. It's all right, my boy. It's okay. I'll just move back a little bit for you. It's okay. I think you want to get some of the food that's I'm sitting on top of, so I'm going to give you a bit more space, my boy. Let me just go and reposition. It's okay, my boy. I think there's a couple of really lovely young shoots that are just near my vehicle. So let me just reposition on the other side of him to give him some space here. There you go, buddy. How's that? And then you can walk on there. It's okay, bud. We'll just stay here and you can just carry on feeding. There you go. So we just moved up away from the others because it was a little bit tight down there, and this is a much more open area where we can view them much easier, and no one gets startled by us being just around a corner in that thick vegetation. And he has been really, really nice and just very comfortable with us, allowing us to be this close. So we're about probably a nice distance away from him now, that he feels comfortable. He did want to go across there, and you can see we were sitting right on top of that vegetation that he's eating. That beautiful skin that Liam's looking at now, that fantastic pattern, and that wonderful gait. As he's walking there, you see those front feet. The front foot is very round as he lifts it up, and the back foot is an oval shape. Hello, my girl. I'll just give her some space as well. They're coming up to drink at this water point, actually. So let me just back up a bit and give them all some space to come to this water point, and then we can have a nice view of them. And the babies are coming. That's what I wanted. All right, my girl. Now, if we just park ourselves up here, which is kind of nice, we can watch all these beautiful, watch this beautiful bit of behaviour here, folks. Just going to reorientate myself. Just orientate myself here so we get a good shot. They're all coming up to this water point, and if I stay over here, then we can just watch these beautiful guys just come and have a drink and give them space and not be in their way. So folks, this is a man-made water point here, as you can see by the edges of it, and you might see even a little bit of the lodge at the background there. They come up and use this water point quite often, and it's probably because it's pumped water in, and it's probably fresher than the dam, so it's nice to come up for them to have a drink. Elephants really do love fresh water. I remember when I was looking after elephants in a zoological situation, and they would much prefer if I put the hose up their trunk and them to fill their trunk with a fresh hose rather than drinking it out of a pool. Really great to have you, Angela. Angela's in Boston, and thank you so much for being with us today. It's great to have you, and we're right with these elephants, and your question is a very, very good one, and it's something that a lot of people, is probably on a lot of people's lips. How quickly could a matriarch, or any of them, their temperament change? And the answer to that is in a split second. But one would think that over time we have been around these animals for long enough that we can get a bit of a handle on... it's okay, my girl. It's okay, baby. Look at those little ones. I'm just keeping my eyes on this individual, Angela, because I don't know this elephant. It's all right, my girl. Everything's fine. I'm just going to start. It's okay, babies. It's okay. Just so you can see these guys walk off and we're not shooting over the back of the vehicle. And they're just going to feed here, so it might be nice for me just to reposition again. And you have to do this with elephants, folks. You have to do repositioning. They're dictating the moves. You might see me not looking at the camera as much as I normally would, or talking to you down the lens, because I'm keeping my eyes on these animals for their benefit and making sure that I don't get any of these little guys into a position where they feel uncomfortable. This could be our little friend from yesterday, you know. I think it might be. This could be Peter's little friend. And if the mother, this mother that we were just looking at a second ago, was in any way concerned, she would have told us to really where to get off here and given us a what for. So they're completely relaxed, and I think that's a really nice thing to for me to sort of convey to you. I'm constantly watching. So Angela, I'm finishing your question, I promise. I'm just watching myself here carefully and making sure that these animals are okay. They could potentially change their mind about anything really in a split second, and hopefully over time we've got enough experience that we watch them carefully and we can pick up those little cues from them that tell us when to move on. But at the moment, I have to say, folks, we are in the presence of elephants on Wild Safari Live. This is coming to you live from Djuma and Arathusa Game Reserves in the magnificent, world-famous Sabi Sands in South Africa. And what a privilege it is to be here. One of the things about elephants as well, I think they're really enjoying their water. They drink when they drink. I sort of get satisfaction out of watching them drink. Have a look at this buffalo behind. Here's a nice bit of action, Viam. There's a buffalo about to come down as well. And let's just see this little bit of interspecies behaviour here. It's a big buffalo bull, massive bulk in this animal. 1, 2, 3 youngsters, and you can just see the back end of the buffalo behind there. Let me just move around, but the buffalo's just like, yeah, okay, you win. Well, this is just magic to sit here and be with this beautiful herd. They are probably one of the nicest herds I've sat with. I'm not sure if it's the same herd I had an experience with back in November, but I think we spent about an hour and a half. I think it was me and Viam actually, that they were just extraordinary. And if it is the same herd, well, I'm very lucky to be here. We're going to follow them. Hello, my girl. It's okay. No problem. Absolutely no problem. It's okay. She's more concerned about the buffalo. Here's a nice bit of behaviour. So here's Mum just saying, okay, Just watch my kids. Just stay away, you buffalo. But the buffs have just come down. They're fine. It's all right, my girl. No problem. So the behaviour we're seeing now is she's just giving us a cursory glance, but it's not anything that we need to be worried about. We haven't moved, we haven't started the vehicle, we just stayed where we were. And there's also a slight bit of dominance from us that we have to stand our ground a little bit too there. What I was saying was, we're going to follow them. We're going to stick with them a little bit, and we should cross over to Pete. I think Pete's picture is up now, so hopefully we're going to be able to see Pete, and we'll come back to you just now. Well, good buffalo afternoon, everyone. Sorry, that was supposed to sound funny. I was supposed to say good buffalo, everyone. It's a lovely afternoon out here. Welcome here at Treehouse Dam. We've been sitting here for a bit, just getting one or two things sorted out. And it's a beautiful afternoon. I must say, you know, I say this often on drive, how it would be nice sometimes to just sit at a waterhole. And we've had that opportunity now. We just sat with these buffalo for about half an hour or so, a little bit more. And it is a lovely thing to do. Sometimes just to get somewhere, beautiful setting, lovely buffalo, the breeze is blowing across the water towards us, so it's nice and cool and very enjoyable. The sound of oxpeckers and a few bird calls. But as always, welcome to the safari. It's been brilliant stuff already. Elephant down at the waterhole, buffalo down there as well. Pretty much every waterhole at the moment has got some buffalo. So lots going on. And the other thing that we'll start seeing more and more over the next few days and weeks as we go further into winter is sort of what we saw this morning with that lovely leopard sighting and hyena, and what we saw now with the elephants and the buffalo is more and more species competing with each other a little bit. We'll talk about it on the drive in the course of this afternoon, in the course of many drives, but more and more there's going to be competition over resources, water, and competition over other resources, food, between the predators. My name's Pieter Pretorius. Welcome to the live safari. Andrew on camera. Looking forward to the afternoon. Let's go look around. Oh, this guy is maybe feeling a bit like we are at the moment, nice and relaxed. He's been lying down in the water since we got here, and he's moved a total of about 5 yards, decided to settle down again. Other guys in the background also relaxed. There were actually a few more when we started, but probably about 7 or 8 of them have moved off already to go and graze, to start the afternoon's feeding activity. There's Andrew. Can you see him? Hey! Alright guys, let's go look around a bit. As I said, the waterholes really is where it's all going to be happening the next couple of weeks. And well, let's just have a last look at this guy. The light is so amazing. I'm going to go slightly forward to see how close we can get in on his face. Actually talk about those bosses. We talk about them every so often, but this is a great opportunity to actually have a close look at it. The bosses that I'm referring to, if you're not familiar with the term, or maybe you don't actually know exactly what animal this is a Cape buffalo. Could also say the African buffalo, I guess. And this is a big bull. You can see those scars around the face, many years of battles and running through thorn bushes. But the bosses I want to discuss, that's what we're looking at there. Those big knobs, if you want, on the top of the head, or the shields on the front of the head, which is obviously part of the horn structure. Actually, to be specific, it's part of the skull structure. So it's the bone structure from the skull that extends into the horns, and the horns are covered with this keratin, basically like fingernails, just a lot tougher. Now, if you look at it closely, the texture on those on the bosses, it is quite dark, almost a sort of a matte black color. The beige and red and brown you see there, except for the red on the bill of that bird that jumped past, the red-billed oxpecker. But the colors you're seeing on the horns itself, that's from tree bark. Buffalo very often will rub their horns up against the trees to get all those oils and minerals and the liquid, if you want, out of the bark onto the horns. That's very good for the horns, a bit like nail cream, I guess, and also taking off and exfoliating the horns. So they have to keep those horns in good shape.
And that was just a great opportunity to actually look at that. Look right in front of the buffalo, beautiful bird. Coming closer, there's lots of insects around the buffalo. So this guy's maybe catching a couple of those. Yeah, these guys can run very quickly. Before you know it, there we go. And this is a starling. We get a few different kinds of starlings out here. The plum-colored starling is a beautiful, smaller species of starling that by now probably have left. They're only here in summertime. But these guys are around permanently. He's going to disappear behind the car there, I think. Scratching around for some insects. This is called a bird-shell starling. Long tail, black patch around the eye, beautiful iridescent body. One of those birds that you see out here quite often, but whenever you get a good view of them, they are always fun to watch. Beautiful birds. Alright, just before we head off, as I said, we're going to check the next waterhole and then probably head over towards Aratuza a little bit, further towards the west. Guys, keep in mind, if this is maybe one of your first drives, one of the great things about the safari is that it is fully live. This is exactly how you would experience a safari if you were physically here with your bags and your camera. Only difference is now your bags and your camera at home, and you just get to come along with us. So you can ask questions, you can send comments in, you can talk to the people around you in the tweets. You can do so. Oh, let's just look at this oxpecker right on the bosses of this buff. We just talked about it. They are really awesome birds, and this is a good opportunity to have a close look. So if you want to ask us something or send something through, hashtag Safari Live for tweeting, or questions at wildearth.tv. That would be the email address, questions at wildearth.tv. Look at this oxpecker going right into the ear there. I've seen oxpeckers go into the ears of big animals like this, like buffalo. I've seen it with rhinos actually, where they climb into the ear head first and they come out again head first, actually managing to turn around sort of in the cup part of the ear. And since we're sitting next to the waterhole, and this is something that will progressively get worse, I guess would be the word for it. Walter, you're asking what if these animals drink this water, don't they get ill from it sometimes because it's so dirty and you know, so messy even, and the animals are all in it. Now we don't have those massive, we don't have these massive big lakes and great water systems like you do in Canada where you're from. But these waterholes, as they get smaller, they will get very dirty. Buffalo, hippos especially, elephant, you know, they will defecate and urinate in the water as well sometimes. Not that that's as dirty as we might think. Keep in mind they're herbivores. But the water itself gets very muddy and mucky, and as it gets more and more concentrated, as it evaporates and animals drink it, it does actually become quite messy. But no, they don't. They've obviously evolved to drink whatever water is available over a long time, and also the type of digestive systems they have very different from ours. And also keep in mind our digestive system these days have become very sensitive, I guess would be a good word. Compare it to people living 100 years ago. The ability to cope with different kinds of food was something that people did much easier back then than they do now. Blacksmith plovers or lapwings. And we could pretty much look at anything this afternoon here. It's such beautiful light. And of course, having the water around, you get that extra bit of bounce from it as well. So it really is lovely. Hello, Blue Jay. Blue Jay has been part of WildEarth for a long time, and also one of the what we call zoomies. Let me quickly explain what the zoomies are, or who the zoomies are. They're the volunteers around the world that are part of this, that are volunteering their time and their passion, the same as many of you have done for quite a long time with WildEarth. And they control the cameras at the waterhole. So firstly, a big shout out and a big thank you to all the zoomies. You guys do an amazing job, and yeah, it's very much appreciated. Blue Jay, you're asking how old do they get? You know what, I every now and again I have to sort of admit with sort of a bit of a chuckle that a lot of the stats and figures of things I've forgotten over the years. So I haven't actually thought about that question, to be very honest with you, probably in I would guess 9 years. But if I remember correctly from the books and the write-ups about it, I think buffalo get to between 24 and 28 years. I don't know why that number comes to mind, but let's say 25 years roundabout would be a good age. You can compare that to sort of some of your traditional cattle breeds that are quite tough. So I think a buffalo of 25 would be quite an old buffalo. In the wild, depending on the pressures in terms of the environment, food, water, lions, other buffalo, all these kind of things, that would all play a role. So these guys around here, I would say you're probably looking at an average age of, let's say 18 to 24 maybe. And then there would be exceptions to the rule. There would be one of them or two of them getting a little bit older. So I think any 20-something would be old for a buffalo. These guys we're looking at are probably all between the ages of 15 and 20, give or take a year there or two. This guy is so relaxed. Okay, well, I think we're gonna start moving along. Although there might be something again that stops me just now, like maybe a leopard around the corner. Kunyuma is close to here somewhere. Well, as we're leaving these guys behind, I know a couple of you commented on the marks on the neck. In fact, the first person I heard commenting on it was Andrew behind the camera. And you can see it from the above. So sort of in this area here, there's a long cut there. It might be from lion. Although if lions got close enough to that buffalo to start making cuts on the skin behind the head, you would certainly see other marks elsewhere in the body as well. So possibly lions, I don't think likely. I think maybe from fighting with another bull and in the hooking of the horns maybe behind the head, that could have hurt the buffalo in that way. That buffalo is still big enough and young enough to be at the sort of the end part of his dominant stages with the herd, so he would still be competing actively with other bulls. So I would guess maybe rather buffalo, maybe a thorn branch when running through the bush, although buffalo's hides are very tough. So I would probably go with another buffalo's horns, but certainly could possibly be from lion as well. Buffalo tracks, ellie tracks, Land Rover tracks, all the big tough animals of the bush have been passed here today by the looks of it. Now we are looking around very carefully this morning. If you didn't see this morning's drive, we had a fantastic morning again. Lots of wildlife around. We also had a great view of Kunyuma, that leopard. He was up in the tree when we got there. Food fell down, he picked it up, didn't put it back in the tree. Ahina came along, he went up the tree again. Bit of interactivity between those two, or interaction between them, and then Kunyuma finished the food. Kunyuma is a leopard, by the way. Sorry, maybe this is one of their first drives. Young male leopard, just very close to 2.5 years old. And when we left him, we couldn't actually see him anymore. He went into this thick, what we call a drainage line, which is this little sort of donga there. Now, donga is also a word you don't know. Donga is a word referring to a drainage line, or a small stream if you want, but not a stream that's running, a dry stream bed that goes in quite deep, so it's like a deep sort of ditch-like stream. Now we are, I would almost wager good money that we are within 200 yards, if not within 100 yards of that leopard at the moment. But Kunyuma has got this ability to just go and find the spot that he hides in. A few days back I tracked him, and when walking in, he only jumped up at about, I think it was 6 yards or 8 yards or something like that. So he's hiding here somewhere, most likely. Not definitely, he could have moved. I was almost hoping to find him at the waterhole. Now, I'm still hoping to find him at the waterhole later on. This is where he was, these big trees to our right. But the killer's not finished, so he's not going to be hanging around at the tree, but I think he's lying here somewhere in the ditch waiting for things to cool down. So I'm not going to walk in because we don't want to disturb him. Not that he's that disturbed by it, he's been used to it since he was a young cub. But we are going to come back here unless something happens, of course. That's the other thing. You never know what's going to happen. This is happening as we speak. You know as much as I do what's going to happen next. Except if I do this, because then I know it before you know it. But otherwise, we're going to look around. We are going to go to Aretusa as well. That's the area to the west that we drive in. There's a big waterhole there. There's been some reports of some strange hippo behavior there. I'm not quite sure what strange hippo behavior is, but I'm very curious. So we're going to go have a look. I had some leopard and lion tracks here this morning as well. So lots to look forward to. Sit back and enjoy the drive with us. We're going to have a good time, that I can promise you. Oh, no, it's a little bird called a gorgeous bushshrike. Now, by that name alone, you can imagine it's quite a nice looking little bird, but very, very shy. Just saw it through the leaves there. Guys, if you've maybe just joined us for the drive, just to give an idea of what's been going on. Great activity around the waterholes, elephant buffalo interaction earlier with HT, and we're going to see more and more of that. Just sort of different species competing a little bit with each other, whether it's elephant chasing buffalo away from the waterhole, competing for the resource of water, or whether it's perhaps, you know, a hyena stealing the food from a leopard, or lions doing the same thing, or different predators competing for the same food resources. As we go into winter, we are going to experience more and more of this sort of species competition as well, or become more aware of it. We had some buffalo at the waterhole. We're going back there now. We're going to go back to Treehouse Dam just quickly. Not to go back to the buffalo, but to just have a look on this side as well, because I'm very confident that somewhere in this little drainage line there is a leopard, but he'll be sleeping in a way that we can't necessarily see him. But you never know. He could also be sleeping in the middle of the road, as happened the other day when we found Q and he was sitting in the middle of the road 5 minutes to 3 busy hunting. So it's just worthwhile checking all our options. And then we're going to head for the strange hippo behavior at Aretusa Dam. Go see what that's about. Some elephant tracks here. Didn't see them at the waterhole, but their tracks were very fresh when we got there 3 o'clock our time. So this is from a little bit earlier this afternoon. As I said, we're going to be heading west. You're going to go over to HT just now, ask him some good questions. Let's have a quick look here before we go to H. Another buffalo, more oxpeckers, and a warthog in the back. Not every day we get to see warthogs out here, but we have seen this one this morning as well, and we also saw the warthog's youngster, except that it was the prey or the food for consumer. But the warthog is not playing the game. So, speaking of that, we're going to go to Aiden. He's got some nice buffalo activity as opposed to buffalo standing around. Enjoy it, and we'll see you a little bit later.
Well, welcome back, folks, to this waterhole again. We're still here. I'm sort of boxed in a little bit at the moment. I'm I've got elephant up to my left, up the road, and she, I think, is the last elephant to come through. She just pushed the buffalo out of the way, gave a bit of a head shake. I don't think they're really paying too much attention to us at the moment, but she's just following up. I think she's the last straggler. I'm just about to have a bit of a look, and then we're going to follow them on. But it's been quite interesting just to sit here and watch one by one coming out of the bush. We thought there was only about probably 10 or 11, but it seems to be about 15 or maybe 18 animals in that herd. It could be two smaller herds as well. I'm just going to start up and just double check that we don't have any other animals just down here, because the last thing you want to do is be in between the herd and the last straggler, even if it's a youngster that just is a little bit slow off the mark. We want to make sure that we always look after them. So we'll go up this little road here. I think that was the last one. It's going off through there. We're going to go up this little road here and come back around, and hopefully we'll come onto them again. It's quite an impressive herd. Really beautiful behaviours that we've seen. Great, relaxed matriarch. Just lovely experience, folks, and so glad you're with us here on Wild Safari Live. If you've got any questions, you can tweet us at #SafariLive, or you can send us questions also via email on questions@wildearth.tv. That was cool, yeah, Vim? Yep. Very nice. Such a nice herd. This is when you really feel like this is the best job in the world. It really is. It's just like I'm so lucky to do this. And to share this with you all, doesn't get much better than this. Here we go. Hey, my girl. Just keeping an eye out here to see who's who. There we go. Wow, I just had some fantastic feedback from Chris on Twitter. Thank you so much for looking that up, Chris. Chris is just telling us now that that the last recorded birth of twins was on Pongola Reserve. I'm not really sure where that is. I've never heard that name before. And there was twins recorded there, so that's incredible. But it's a very, very small statistic, a very, very small percentage that ever happens, and to see it or record it live. My question, Chris, would be actually, even if you could research that a bit further for me, I'd love to know whether they actually viewed the birth, they were present when it was born, or they just saw two calves with the one mother. Because there has been recordings, and this would be great to continue researching for us, and this is what's so great about this Safari Live, is you can do things for me and help me. I don't have all the books here to do this, or the internet to just go and look at something like that. Figure out whether the people that recorded that were present during the birth, or whether they just saw two calves with one female. Because I have seen it where a mother has died and another related female, or I've read it, sorry, another related female has taken on or adopted the other baby. So, Chris, I'm sorry to make you do more work. It'd be fantastic if you could find out for us. Hopefully splitting your screen and having Wild Safari Live on one side and looking up on the net something else for us. That would be brilliant. I really appreciate this, Chris. This is great. I'm learning so much from you, and always really great to have you online. So we look forward to seeing, Chris, if you can find anything else out for us. We've got elephant down here. Got elephant up here. Elephant over here. And none behind us, which is exactly where we want to be. I'm just waiting to see whether this individual here is going to come this way or go in front of us. I don't want to, again, split the herd. It's a bit hard for you to see anything at the moment, but the vegetation here is very thick, folks, and understand that I'm looking after everyone here. That's my ultimate goal, is everyone's safety is my ultimate importance. Lots of little babies in there. Just gonna sit here, folks. It feels quite surreal, folks, to be just in this situation, and Valerie is watching us, and hi Valerie, fantastic to have you on board. Really mean that to everyone that I say that tweets their questions in and emails. Of course we try and answer as many as we can. The question, Valerie, you're asking is that whether I've ever been touched by an elephant. I've been touched by an elephant too many times that I can't even remember how many times, but that was by elephants in captivity. I used to work with Asiatic elephants, and that was an incredible experience. It's a beautiful texture, their skin's a beautiful texture. It is roughish, but you know, at the same time, to them, it's quite delicate. But in the wild, I only ever had a situation where an elephant came up very close to the vehicle, and I felt its breath through its trunk, and it was breathing like this, breathing with its trunk, and then blew out like that. And as it blew out like that, I sort of felt the closest that I've ever felt. Now, I do have another story, which I'll just wait for a second because I just want to have a little bit of a recap. There's an elephant lying down in the grass there. That's why I wanted to double check, and that is just spectacular. VM, if you just zoom in, right, see that long straight track there, right in the grass below, there's a little baby elephant lying down. Come down, mate, down, tilt down, just there. There's a little elephant. You'll see his ear flap in a minute. He's having a little rest. I'm sorry I got my head right in the shot there, I do apologise, but I just thought there was a female coming up behind. So folks, I'm back in this herd. We've left them down at the waterhole, as I just mentioned before. We're bang smack in the middle of the herd at the moment. So it's something you have to just always keep a very tight sort of handle on. Don't drop your guard and don't get complacent. I'm looking to camera a lot, but I'm looking down through there. I can see an individual walking towards us. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 I can see here, and I think there's about 18 in this group or this herd. So a lot of people I know would love me to get closer, but in this particular vegetation it is probably unwise. It's unwise for the elephants. Firstly, it could cause them to be a little bit disturbed. At the moment they're tolerating us where we are, and I respect that, and that's the way that I always stick with. I stick with what's my intuition and my gut feeling, and I feel very, very comfortable where we are. The reason being, and I'll tell you it is right now, there's a baby lying down in the grass just behind the individual that VM's got in the picture now, and it's the calf of that mother. Now if I was to go around the corner and startle that baby and that baby let out an alarm call, then the whole herd gets upset, and that's not what we're here for on Wild Safari Live. We're here to observe and not change these animals' behaviour. We really want to just become part of this herd this afternoon. It's really important, and I know some people may get closer to elephants when you watch documentaries, but I have a real strict policy with my intuition, and my intuition tells me that this is perfect, and we sort of look like potentially an elephant looking through here. I'm just going to roll back a little bit because I just want to see how much space we've got between this elephant here and the rest of the herd. Just bear with me, folks. Okay, who is that? That is a female with calf, and she's quite a big girl, this one, and she's got quite a young individual with her. So we're going to just make sure we just give her a bit of space. It's okay, my girl. I'm going to give you some space here. Cecilia and Judy, you've just asked similar questions, which is fantastic. It just goes to show that you are all thinking down the same lines and thinking about elephants with us, and we're creating a wonderful conversation on our interaction and social media, which is so fantastic. You're both wanting to know, how long does a baby take to learn how to use its trunk? Well, it goes through really different periods in its life, and that trunk doesn't really need to be used for quite some time until it starts to forage for itself. Just going to give this mama a little bit of space, folks. She's got a real young one with her, which is really cool, but I'd like her to walk in front of me and be comfortable. So I am coming back to your question. Let me just get my ducks in a row here, so to speak. I can then move up. She's got such a young baby. VM, I'll get you a better picture, mate, but I just wanted to get us in a better spot just to watch what she wants to do, whether she's going to go left or right. So you really have to look, Judy and Cecilia, I am coming back to your question. I just really want to make sure that we're in the right spot here. This is a situation that one has to take great care in and great respect for the animals, as I'm sure you're aware. So the babies start to use their trunk properly in their sort of later years, in their sort of second year and third year, but they'll start to experiment with it. They'll start to drink a little bit with it early in their first year as well. They're still suckling from their mother as well for quite a while, so that maternal care, they lavish their babies with maternal care, and they'll remain in constant touch. The ones that can walk underneath the mother are the ones that are pretty much under a year old. So they start to use that trunk. That trunk is probably their lifeline. It's their lifeline to survival, really. That trunk is the most important thing in their world. And if I do stop in mid-flight in conversation here, folks, it's just because I've got a little baby off to my right, Vim, who's just been a sneaky little character, and he's just coming around just to have a little look at us. And he's great. He's great. And this could be Peter's little friend, but we always want to make sure. Hello, my boy. Hello. How you going? How you going? Where's your mama? That is spectacular. So we've just got to make sure his mama's okay, and his mama is just over there. It's completely cool. Aren't you? I'm sure you're the same little man that was playing with Pete yesterday. He's about 3 feet away from my vehicle at the moment, folks, which is a really tricky situation for us in the sense that I can't start the vehicle because it would startle him. So I just want to make sure he's comfortable. He's eating now. He's about 2 meters away from the vehicle, but it's all fine. It's absolutely fine. Look at those markings and that beautiful, beautiful little perfect ears that he's got, and those eyes. And this is a great way for you to... It's all right, my boy. It's okay, my tiger. Such an amazing experience, absolutely amazing, folks, to be in this presence of this little guy so close to us. And he's not finding us threatening at all. He's just really, really inquisitive. And Cecilia and Judy, have a look at that little trunk. I can't tell you, folks, how extraordinary this feels right now. And he's just so cool. He's so relaxed. He's like, we're a bit weird, we're a big green thing. And now they're going to have a little bit of fun together. So the one closest to us is a little bit older. The little one is just being a little bit cheeky to the other one here. Hey boys. Spectacular. Wow. It's okay, fellas. Wow, aren't you beautiful, guys? "22 months in the womb and that little guy comes out. Pretty much what you see right there. I've got to tell you, folks, what I'm feeling right now is one of the most incredible baby experiences I've had in a long time with elephants, and I'm sure Pete felt the same way last night. They are just spectacular. The parents are so relaxed too. Okay guys, you probably should move on a little bit, my friends, because I don't want your mummy to get upset with us. So incredible. I'm just like, I'm speechless, folks. I'm just sitting here watching with you these incredible creatures. They literally are 1 foot from the front of the vehicle, 2 feet maybe, the tail of this little guy. He just touched the front of my vehicle and he's like, uh-oh, what's that? Let's go. Speechless. I'm just watching because behind me, I'm so sorry, I've got to reverse here. It's okay, my girl. Beautiful big female here. But it's okay, my babe. I just want to give her some space, and that's her baby, that little one. So it's okay, precious. Give you a little bit of space. So what I've just done, and I'll explain every single move I make, is giving respect to her. Just, you do a wide shot now for me, VM. I'm going to just point, or you can pan as I speak, mate. This female here has just allowed us to be with her youngster. This is this individual just here. She's pushing over this tree. She's just been allowed us to be up in this area here with her youngster. So I was pretty much in between both of them, but I was watching her constantly, and that's when I sort of went a bit quieter just to make sure that she didn't get, the little ones didn't get startled. We still spoke through it and everything, but it was just a quiet moment we had. It was just lovely. And all it was just letting her know that, you know, we want to give them the space. The babies have taken off up the road now, but it was just a special moment. And sometimes, folks, I have to tell you, you don't have to speak. The pictures tell it all. You are one amazing mum, my friend. The trust. And that just goes to show you, folks, what the most incredible thing is about being out here in the African bush on these magnificent reserves in Sabi Sands. Juma and Arathusa, this particular herd, is so comfortable, so habituated, so wonderfully comfortable with us that was not even an issue for her. It's got to make your day. Wow. So many of you have been sending through information. I can't believe it. It's fantastic, and thank you so much, all of you, for all the bits of information about these. It was on December 4th, I think, like a few years back. I can't quite remember the date, but that someone's telling us that it was only last year. It wasn't witnessed, which is interesting. But I'm sure scientists have verified that it was to the mother, the twins that were born. The individual's name, I think it sounds like it was Curve or Curb, but fantastic information, folks, and goodness me, that was just great to have you guys working for me, because I really had to concentrate on that situation. Now I'm going to give you the reason why. Those two little guys that were right in front of the vehicle, if I ended up just up the road there, they were just in front of us. If those little guys, I startled them and they vocalized, the mother here was on my sort of back angle, out just in my sort of peripheral vision. The other mother was just there. Now, as I said to you, the reason why I don't go too close, they came to us, by the way, so that's the thing we have to remember. I positioned us well away from them, giving them space and let them dictate the moves. This adult female is only like 5 meters away from us, 15 feet, feeding away, completely comfortable. She's the mother of one of those little ones, and it was the second little one that came up to us, the sort of little bit smaller, and the comfortability rate is just high, very, very high. But at the same time, never get complacent, never drop your guard, be in the presence of elephants, and have a magical moment like that. He touched the bull bar. I felt him touch the bull bar, and he was like, "Oh, I've never felt that before." And that's when he just took off. Incredible stuff. Wow, you watched it with us live on Wild Safari Live, and I'm so thankful for all that feedback and the questions. We're going to cross over to Pete because I need a bit of a minute to compose myself after that beautiful encounter. Let's see what Pete's up to. I'm sure he's up to something. He always is, and we'll be right back with you just now.
Well, welcome back this side, and I wish we were looking at baby elephants playing with us as well. We're making our way towards Aratuza Dam. I believe we've had an amazing time with Hayden there, so I'm just turning the game drives down. Elephants coming right up to the vehicle. We've had some very, very special baby elephant, especially baby elephant encounters the last day or two. That's beautiful view that you see down that way. All it's missing is an aeroplane. This is the airstrip. Now, this is not a big airstrip for A380s. This is an airstrip for little bush planes. Probably the most popular bush plane is the little Cessna 206 or 208s, little 6-seater planes, or the Caravans 12-seater planes. They fly guests in straight to the lodges here, so you can get a sort of a private charter or a flight that brings you right into the bush. When I used to guide at Juma and subsequently with WildEarth, we've picked many people up, and over the years I've even had to chase zebra and impala, cheetah off the airstrip to make space for the planes. Not chase, I mean chase sounds a bit rude, but just with the vehicle, you know, go politely ask them if they'd mind moving along. As any airstrip does, this one has a wind sock, and this gives you a pretty good idea of the breeze we've got this afternoon. It's, I would say, a strong breeze rather than a wind. It's maybe a light wind. Probably looking at about, if I had to guess it, I'd say about 5-6 knots. Almost due easterly wind blowing towards the west. Same way we are. That's where west is, where the sun is going to set in about an hour or so from now. Thought I saw something, but not.